My name's Michael Soli. Welcome to the show. This is episode 3. Pretty brand new at this, so we appreciate your, logging on and checking out the show. We're calling today's episode Vegas Voices. My guest is Mr. JEFF CELENTANO. You'll understand why in a few minutes why it's called Vegas Voices. He's got many. And before we begin, I'd like to mention a couple sponsors. Bold Energy Drink, right there on the table. It's actually being produced by the producers of this show. You can get it on the website. And the working title, the working tagline is Bold Energy. It gives your wings wings. Don't laugh. He wants to laugh. He wants to laugh. Also, Vegas Auto Fest, which is behind me here, I think. VegasAutoFest.com, looking for sponsors. It's a fantastic event held at Red Rock Country Club every year. It's a big car show. But all the proceeds, every penny goes to the people that live in the tunnels.
Yes.
Which I know that sounds like a joke, but it's not. There's tunnels underneath the city of Las Vegas, and lots of folks live there. Shine a Light. It's called Shine a Light Foundation. They don't make any money. It just goes to help the people living in the tunnels. So great event. Hope you'll sponsor it. You can connect with us through the show. My talent agency, SoliConcepts.com. You can find us there. And then we'll get to Jeff's taglines and social media here in a second. And we're going to roll some music now, I think, in the post-production thing. Take a break, and we'll dive into it. You ready?
All right. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Okay. So, once again, Michael Soli here, episode number 3. This is JEFF CELENTANO.
Hello, virtual everyone.
We go back a long way.
Over 20 years at this point.
Over 20 years.
Yeah.
You're probably one of the most, I want to say, you do more... Your Vegas Voices, everything that you do, you're a harmony master. It's not a skill I've ever picked up. I can sing, give me the third or the fifth, and I'm out.
Yeah, you got a great voice.
Thank you, but I'm not you. I'm not playing a jazz chord and you go, I'll do that weird 13th. Like, that's you. And I'd like you to, what's your background musically?
Yeah, so I come from a pretty musical background. I mean, as you know, my brother's also here in town as well.
Incredible musician.
Yeah, and we've been here. I came here in 98, I think the same year
as
you
me.
did. So fall of 98, so we're going on 26
I think there was
years
an eclipse that year too because the two of us arrived.
Well, the two Italians, we kind of conquered the city, and we're still here. Still here. Still looking good too. So hey, come on, let's be honest. So musical background. My dad was in show business when he was a really little kid, like grew up in Hollywood and went to went to school with all the kids that were in like the Mouseketeers and all that stuff. Yeah, so if you go through like his old high school yearbooks, it's like a who's who of classic Hollywood, right? Gosh. So it was kind of instilled in us at a very young age. I got a lot of my musical inspiration comes from things that are way older than me. I'm no spring chicken at this point, but the stuff that I gravitated to was all from like the 60s and the 70s and things. I'm a huge fan, as you know. I love the Beach Boys. I love all that.
The Beatles.
The Beatles and all that stuff. I mean, it's just... So I kind of built my musical foundation around vocal harmony.
I can see that. I'm a guitar player. I love playing the guitar. I love playing the guitar more than singing. I consider myself a guitar player that can sing. And I've always gravitated toward that instrument. Different styles, different genres, finger picking. Vocals to me were always great, but the main meat for me was the guitar. I think it's the other way around. And I love that you have that ear because and ironically, my father is a harmony singer. He was in a band called Friday and the Flashbacks. And it was all 4-part harmony doo-wop stuff. When I was 15 years old, he was sneaking me into bars to go check out the band. It was all, so I was always around it, but never absorbed the ability to do it like on the fly. I can sit down and pick out the parts and I can learn them, but like live, I'm like, if I have to, I can.
Interesting.
Yeah, but you're just anything. I've seen it. I've heard it.
Yeah, it's interesting. I started just recently. I started putting myself out there on some of these music sites where people can hire you to do vocals and
Fiverr,
stuff like that. There's one called Sound Better that I just got.
Great one.
Yeah,
Sound Better's great.
Yeah, so I just got
gigs.
all that stuff. So I just got a request to add some vocals the other day and just kind of quickly threw it down. But it's just I've been kind of trained to do that for so many years because I produce shows and a lot of them require creating backing tracks and whatnot. So I'm usually the guy that has to lay down all of the vocal parts. And one of the reasons why I play piano is because it just makes it easier to part stuff out.
It is.
So I'm not like the greatest piano player in the world. I'm functional,
Yeah.
but it's a reverse. Like I play to accompany the singing, but I'm a terrible, like don't ask me to solo or anything like that. I'm a solid rhythm keyboardist, you know, at best.
Yeah, but if you wanted to, you could expand that. You wanted to stick with the vocal stuff because here's what I find living in a tourist town and being on cruise ships and being around tourists pretty much my whole adult career in music. Anyone can understand how difficult it is to harmonize because everyone can speak, everyone can make sounds with their voice, and they realize how hard playing an instrument's one thing. That's a whole, but hearing harmony, people just especially if you're nailing it, it grabs people's attention because it's like, wow, I understand how hard that is because and you are just. Can we talk about some of your projects? Because,
yeah, sure.
I mean, Fifth Avenue.
Yeah, so it's funny. I got a buddy of mine in town. His name is Rob Hyatt. Yep. He's you want to talk about a vocal arranger? I mean, that guy. I mean, if you think I'm good, he's like 1,000 times better. He's one of those guys that can take like. I'm good with like pop stuff and and some jazz and here and there, but like he can basically take I've literally watched him on an airplane chart out a 4-part like big band vocal arrangement and with one hand and then the other hand writing out the actual orchestral chart.
I hate this guy.
Yeah,
I hate him. Rob Hyatt, I hate you wherever you are.
And he's a great and he's one of the greatest.
He's a great guy.
Yeah, he's funny. He's talented. He's really great. And so
that's what an incredible skill. To hear that in your head, like just.
Yeah, it's crazy. So a lot of times I'll even work with him if I think like if I'm tackling a project that might be a little too, I'll kind of go to him and say, hey, help me decode this a little bit. But he started this group called Fifth Avenue years ago, back in the early '80s, right? And like up in Washington, it's when they were in college. Long story short, people fell out here and there, and then they brought me in, obviously, because they were like, "Oh, you're a harmony guy," and so the group doesn't do a lot anymore because one of the other guys is there's some health problems. They're all a little older than me, so there hasn't been a lot of activity there. But when we do get together, it's fun, and it's complex stuff. Like it's like the high-lows and the Four Freshmen. It's like old like jazz stuff.
I know.
The misconception with that group is people, and you've actually said, hey, with your a cappella group, and we do very little without instrumentation.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, it's mostly like big band and jazz stuff, but it's all in that genre.
Right.
And my hat is off to him. He can arrange that stuff and sing it all too.
You're a very modest person because I know that you're very talented at that too as well. His name went out of my head just now. You back him up at the
Clint Holmes?
Clint Holmes.
Yeah.
A Vegas staple headliner here in town.
He's great.
Often brings your group on his show.
And I hesitate to call it my group. It's more Rob's
I apologize.
group.
I apologize. You're here.
Yeah, I'm here.
Fifth Avenue.
I'm representing don't come see us because we're not playing anywhere. We're not performing.
But when you do, you promote it on the socials, and it's a fantastic project.
Yeah, it's fun.
Is there an active, ongoing project that you're involved in?
Musically, so I've been in kind of like the tribute band world for a long time. I actually started a Beach Boys show called Good Vibrations, which you've booked.
Yep.
I started that, so it was an interesting story. I had an original band that I started with my brother years ago, and we used to play for your at the Palms back in the day.
Yep.
Yeah, and we would open for bands like America and Little River Band and stuff like that because we were
Little River Band.
Yeah, so because we were a vocal group, and at the time we're going back like 2004, 20 years ago now. That was kind of a rare thing. It's still. Obviously now, still a rare thing.
It is.
Even more of a rare thing.
Live vocals, harmonizing like that is a rare thing.
Yeah, so we would get
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'll tell you. I certainly know a thing or two about that. It saved my ass a few times. But yeah, so we would get tapped to open for a lot of these kind of older bands because we were kind of musically aligned. And I've always been a massive Beach Boys freak. And in the audience, that when we opened for America at the House of Blues, this is like 2004. In the audience was a guy named Billy Hinchy, who was a longtime member of the Beach Boys and touring member. And so he and I kind of cooked up this idea to create this kind of tribute band thing. Billy has since passed away a couple of years ago. But yeah, so we kind of started, the idea started from there. And then we started working with a couple of guys in the Beach Boys. And then it just kind of became a natural progression. Well, why don't I just put this band together? The challenge is that the music is, it's so old. And it's as I say, it's so old and it's so white. It's you know what I mean. It's really so it's kind of. It's
I know what you mean.
It plays to a certain audience.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you have to manage expectations when you go out with that band. But 20 years on, we're still doing it. You know, I still will occasionally perform with the band.
Yep.
I used to play with them all the time.
Yep.
Now I've kind of gotten to the point where I can have different casts of the group together. So like I can double and triple book the band if possible and maintain the quality. So the show it's produced more like a show as opposed to a band.
But the band does play all over the world. I mean, the Beach Boys were famous everywhere in the 60s. So, I mean, so you guys have been in Europe and traveled a bunch. That's cool.
Yeah.
And that's really cool.
Yeah. It's been a great, experience. I mean, at this point, I'm using a lot of cast members. A buddy of mine out in Nashville, who's a great songwriter and record producer, is really helping me with the casting now.
Okay.
And is kind of taking the production reins when I'm not there. So lately, and this is a relatively new development, I'll send the band out on the road. Like they just did 9 shows out in Arizona. They just came back from Texas, and I get to stay home. It's wonderful.
It's awesome.
It's really wonderful. But I'll get calls. Oh, we really miss you. And I'm like, well, speaking of tracks, I mean, my voice is all over the stage. I'm kind of like the Force Ghost. You know what I mean? Like I'm still there. So you just don't have to put up with my kvetching and bullshit.
You're also a member of the Australian Bee Gees.
Yes.
Which I think is so friggin' cool. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah.
That's not what you said about the Beach Boys. That's not that.
No.
That hits a whole different demographic.
What's funny with the Beach, and I have to kind of, I always like to clarify, I'm not a full-time member of that show.
Yeah,
I'm a sub. So they call me in, like I think I got to go in on Saturday.
But I always see you on the socials doing talking about the show. You're great about promoting. You're a really great promoter for these shows.
Thank you.
When you're in them. Thank you. I know when they're happening because I see you on the socials saying, hey, I'm backstage, we're sound checking.
Yeah.
Sold out tonight. It's gonna be great. That's great, man.
It's fun. I like to give people kind of a little peek behind the curtain. I mean, that's another great example of a show that has, in my opinion, if you're gonna, especially for a tribute band, right? It's different if you're an original artist because you're getting your own name out there. Yeah. But if for a tribute show, the Australian Bee Gees, Good Vibrations, I think it's smarter from a business perspective to kind of not franchise it out, but have a bench of people so you can go out and you can book 2-3 gigs at a time. So the Australian Bee Gees have very wisely done that, and I kind of took my cue from them. So we're going back maybe 10 years is when I started performing with them, just because they needed a sub for one of the guys because they were building out their bench.
If I may, again, a sub who can sing harmony like you. And play keys, because not everyone can do both things. I mean, seriously, man, that's some high harmony stuff you're doing. You're hitting those crazy notes in the stratosphere.
Yeah.
And discoing it out while you're doing it. It's pretty cool. I mean, these are not easy songs to play.
Yeah, no,
some of the changes in those tunes are not 1-4-5 at all. You know?
Well, it's funny. I run into that. I always say that the mark of a good song, right, is when you can sit down and you can say, no, I got this, and then you get to that part and you go, what is that change? And that's one of the reasons why I think I was drawn to the music like the Beach Boys and guys like Brian Wilson and Paul McCartney and all that stuff, is because back then in like the early and mid 60s, it's basically just 3-chord chunk and rock and roll, right?
Yep.
But then you get to that minor seventh, or you get to that diminished chord or that augment, and it's like, whoa, that's really different. And that's why that music, it was the evolution of the generation before.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So you had the 3-chord Chuck Berry stuff, and then like take a song like, I would say take a song like Fun, Fun, Fun. The verses are very it opens with a Chuck Berry riff, right?
Yeah.
But it's got that it sounds like 3-chord rock. Then you get to the chorus, bum, 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 bum. And it's like, oh, those are some fat, jazzy chords there.
Yep.
So that's I always like the kind of music that I gravitate to. There has to be a little interesting twist.
Yep.
There has to be something. Oh, that's cool. That's new. That's different.
For me, I'm in the same boat as you, but that interesting twist can be lyrically.
Yeah.
I'm a writer myself. I'm a songwriter, so I'm drawn to lyrics. I mean, Yesterday, simple, straight ahead tune, so beautiful. You can play with just a vocal and a piano, vocal and a guitar. It's beautiful, however you execute it. But the lyrics, I mean, you can add whatever you want above it. But I mean, just the So I'm a lyric guy. I love the I'm also, as a player, I love the meat of the crazy changes. But as a listener, I'm listening to the lyrics.
That's interesting. And
Yeah, I'm
I think,
different than.
I think that's the reason why writers like Bob Dylan, have gotten, are so big, it's so legendary, is because they listen to those lyrics. And it's almost the opposite for me. Like, and it's funny that you mentioned, you referenced yesterday, because McCartney is not the greatest lyric writer in the world. You know what I mean? So that usually that's the Lennon's thing, and he was the lyric guy, and McCartney was the music guy. It got not quite that black and white, but that's kind of the perception. But yeah, McCartney will occasionally, hey, he pulled one out,
Absolutely,
which is great, and he's more of a music guy as well. So it's an interesting dichotomy when it comes to music. But yeah, you are a really good lyric guy, but you're a hell of a singer. I mean,
well, thank you. Thank you. I love to play and I love to sing. I love songs that are interesting. Little River Band, great example. To me, they're like Eagles light. They weren't as big as the Eagles, but man, they had the same. To me, go watch their 90-minute show anywhere. You'll know every song. Be blown away by the harmonies, by the guitar work, by the layering. I mean, every song sound. To me, a mark of a great band is like Led Zeppelin. The 4 bars into any song, you go, that's Zeppelin, but no 2 songs sound alike at all. But you know it's Zeppelin. I don't know how you do that. I don't know how anyone can do that. They did it.
Well, yeah, that's why they're Zeppelin.
That's why they're Zeppelin. And we're not. And plus, about the Beatles, what's interesting about them is they couldn't read music. They didn't know what they were doing. They didn't know there were rules. Like, you can't go from here to E flat. Like, hey, you can. We just did.
Like, okay. Absolutely. And ironically, now there are college courses on the Beatles.
Exactly. And you had the producer,
George Martin
going, well, fellas, well, lads, I guess it's fine for this, and then they made $1 zillion and went, I'm going to follow you guys.
And he was classically trained. So when they needed somebody to like do a string arrangement for Yesterday or Eleanor Rigby, or the piano solo, like in My Life,
talk about a twist of fate, or I don't know, synchronicity, but that guy getting that gig with that band at that time changed pop music.
Absolutely.
And good for all of us. We're all very fortunate.
Absolutely.
I'm going to get back to you.
Because we can nerd out on
we're nerding
old
out. So in addition to the active projects that you're doing, you're also doing a sales thing right now.
Yeah. So I've this is, again, it's kind of a long story, but I like you, I think we kind of similar in this respect, that if we wanted to make a living doing what we love to do, which in our case was music, you had to figure out the business part, the marketing part, all of that stuff. And I don't think a lot of artists and musicians go that way, right? I think it's more of a rarity when you have somebody that can perform musically, artistically, think that way, but also figure, okay, how am I going to make this work, right? And so because of that, again, years and years ago, through other mutual people that we have known over the years, I got into things like digital marketing and websites
podcasting.
Like in funnels and all this stuff so I started like around 2005, or almost 20 years ago at this point, where I was I'd be speaking another language to people and they just kind of wouldn't get it. Now this is all really commonplace, but I was kind of following a lot of the internet gurus, all of which who selling courses, doing, the things that are now, again, pretty common.
Right.
So, and the one common denominator, whether it's music or whether it's marketing or whatever, you gotta, nothing happens until something gets sold.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So, so as important as it is to learn the marketing side, I also think it's equally as important to know how to do the sales side as well.
Couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. So
you're doing so I don't know what the company is, but you're hiring people to sell stuff online.
Yeah. So basically, so let's say if you came up with Michael Soli's podcasting course, and it's and you want to sell it for $6,000, or do like a mastermind or anything that would be considered high ticket, right? So anything like say $5,000 and up. A lot of those people, like let's say you come across something online, like an ad, and you say, I want to take this course, and you opt in to watch something. Usually someone will call you and reach out, and that's the sales end of it. The marketing,
gotcha.
You'll see the marketing online, and then usually somebody will reach out, set an appointment.
That's you.
Well, well, it's not me, but I hire those people.
You hire those people.
I place those people.
Nice.
Yeah. And I enjoyed it. It's nice to do something that's just not related to music. Although, ironically, the people that run the company that I work with, they're all really young. They're like in their 20s. Yeah, and they're all they're making millions. They're living in Thailand and traveling. Digital nomads. That
Good
whole
for
thing.
them.
Good for them. They're really and one of the guys is very musical, and I only really see him online when he's promoting his latest single or his newest project. Nice. So I've noticed that some of the like a lot of the people in that space, the online digital world, some of them are there's a lot of musicians in that world.
It's if you're firing on all cylinders, music's in there somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, man. We're human beings. Music's energy. That's just harnessing the energy, man. That's essentially what it is, right?
That's really deep. Did you have one of those?
I had a bold.
Did you have a bold?
I had a bold, which gave my wings wings.
Okay.
And my wings are spouting the wisdom that's coming out of my boca right now. It's happening.
I had one before we started.
How do you feel?
I love it.
You're not jittery.
I'm not jittery.
You sound normal.
Okay.
But your heart, I can see it pounding through your...
Yeah. I'm gonna... Is our doctor in the house? We got an ambulance somewhere. No, this is great. I've always wanted to venture into the nootropics area, and I'm going to turn this into a big commercial. But this is kind of the first time I must say I'm impressed.
Me too.
So my hat's off to
me too.
Yeah.
Is there? So I guess this is going to go out to the whole world.
Oh no,
it's true. It's true. Not just Vegas. Is there a? Do you want to promote your? So people contact you if they have a course they want to sell?
Well,
do they contact you or someone else?
Well, it's another company. I don't run the company, but if you go, I do keep kind of like a little link tree of all of my stuff. So if you go to jeffsounds.net, JEFFSOUNDS.net,
jeffsounds.net.
Yeah, that's got everything. That's got all my socials. That's got all the links to the sales thing, to any of my bands, my music.
There you go, jeffsounds.net.
Yeah, so that's kind of where you can stalk me to your heart's content. Absolutely.
All right, so I've got my notes here. We've pretty much gone through everything.
Okay,
I feel pretty good with the show so far.
Okay.
I want to ask you 5 big questions.
Are we done?
We're not done. We're heading toward the end, but I want to ask you 5 questions.
Okay.
Okay. And before I ask these 5 questions,
sure.
I've had Jeff. I've had 2 episodes before this. The first episode was with Toad from Stoney's.
Oh yeah.
Great guy, not a player himself, but in the business.
Yes.
A Tuesday with Tiago, my Guzzi from great guy, musician. Before we go into the last 5 questions for the show, what do you think? Someone coming to Vegas that wants to make a living performing, your best advice to those people, to that person?
Stay in your own state.
Don't do it.
Don't come here.
Don't sell insurance.
You know, it's funny. It sounds like a joke, and I would say, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, come on out.
Yeah.
Come on out. Sure. This Vegas. Look, we've both been here 25 years at this point.
Long time.
So we've seen the landscape change.
Yes.
So it really depends. Look, I'm a big fan, whether it's in music or business or life in general. I'm a big fan of managing expectations.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So I think if you're going to come, especially if you're going to drop everything and move, you want to go into any town, you want to go in guns blazing, right? So make sure you have your shit together.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes. By that he means an EPK.
Yeah.
Your promo.
Yeah.
You're ready to go.
Yeah. Don't just roll into town and think, I'm the best guitar player in the world. I'm gonna make my... It's like it just doesn't happen. And the other thing is the landscape is so different. Like when we got here, there were lounges everywhere, and there were people playing, there were orchestras, and there were still pit orchestras for shows.
Yes.
That was like the beginning of the end of that era. And it's changed so much. I would say there's a better chance, and I'm not trying to rain on anybody's parade,
man.
but
be honest, please.
But it's so different now. It's funny that you bring this up, because I was actually thinking of us talking about this when I was on the way over here.
Yeah.
Because if you're a DJ, it's different. I would think it would be kind of hard now for a guitar slinging singer-songwriter guy like yourself, a piano playing Billy Joel guy like myself, to kind of do. And ironically, I just had a gig last night, and ironically,
I know what you mean.
But we've been here forever,
exactly.
So we've got the network. We all know everybody. So it takes some time, even if you're really ultra talented. You still got to make the connections. People have got to trust you.
Yep.
They've got to know if you're a decent hang.
Yep.
I mean, you know that's a big part of the gig.
Huge part of the gig.
I've gotten gigs that I musically probably wasn't qualified for, but because I wasn't a pain in the ass.
And you're reliable. You're going to be on time. You're going to do the show. You're going to say what you mean and mean what you say.
Yeah.
And that's a big part of it. And I said on the very first episode, and I'm going to say it in every single one of them, my advice to someone coming here is to be a network connection specialist. Don't burn bridges and be reliable.
Yeah.
Don't F up a gig ever. Don't burn a bridge. Just, you have to build. You're competing with everybody, and there's only so much. I mean, there's enough work for everybody if you're good enough to do the gig, which means you're as good as your last show. Bring it every time, and don't F it up. Be reliable.
Yeah.
You know?
And look, I'm not going to pretend that I haven't violated a few sins here and there
no one's perfect.
in years and years. But yeah, for the most part, that is true. So I would think that if somebody's coming from another state or another area and they want to make it in Vegas, this isn't Vegas of 20 or 30 years ago. It's very different. Now it's becoming more of a sports town.
Yep.
So venues are closing, showrooms are closing, especially in my world, man. Not only am I kind of in the tribute world, but I'm in tributes for old people. So my audience is literally dying out, right? So we like to say when we roll up to a gig, we say we're performing in God's waiting room. Because those are the, you know what I mean?
You finish the show and go, we might see you next year.
Well, let me tell you, we pulled up to one place in California because we play, I book these bands sometimes and it's like, active adult communities.
Exactly.
As they're called. And we pulled up into one and there was literally an ambulance pulling out.
Oh my goodness.
Well, one of the houses, like, well, I guess that's one seat open tonight. There's one ticket.
It was sold out until 3 minutes ago.
Yeah.
That's funny and it's not. But hey, listen, it's
true.
life. It's life.
Yeah.
So, okay, the 5 questions. You ready? So always big 5 questions.
Okay.
Best advice to yourself at 21 years old that you can give now to yourself at 21.
Oh, my God.
You're on the spot. No, you're not on the spot.
Best advice to myself. I would say, look, learn the skills that I've taken the time to learn the skills since I've been 21. Really, I mean, that's what it comes down to. Learn marketing, learn sales, it's more than just your talent and your ability.
I agree with you completely.
Mm-hmm. It's network. I have an 18-year-old daughter who's graduating high school this year, and that's one of the things. Like, I tell her, look, you're going to a school in a city where the kids that potentially are going to be running this town in 20 years.
Yes.
So make friends.
Yes.
Build your network. Your network is your net worth, as they say. The more hands you shake, the more money you make. So we want to make sure that
Can we tag that, guys? I'm looking at that's great stuff. I'm going to jot that down later. No, really, that's really cool.
Yeah.
But so what you're saying is, social media is one side of it, but don't forget the personal side of it too, like meeting people, looking people. I think human communication is 90% nonverbal.
Yeah.
It's physical. I mean, it's this.
Absolutely.
And this is what you lose when you just text. Zooming and stuff is cool, but still not this.
Sure.
Don't forget about this, like human interaction.
We can have that. And we can have
one of my favorite Seinfeld moments of all time. Best advice to yourself now. Like, are you happy with where you are, with where you've landed? Are you content with the balance between music and the sales thing? Overall,
that's a question where the answer changes almost daily.
Gotcha.
Right?
That's
I mean,
cool.
because when you have aspirations to do, like, you're at the age where you see like 25-year-olds that are killing it and making millions, and you go, how come I'm not there? But then you go, there. I think as you get older, and maybe you agree with this. I think as you get a little older, the tendency isn't to become lazy or comfortable, but you get. I've found a little more peace in not being as, I don't know, maybe competitive. Maybe it's a terrible thing.
No. I know exactly what you mean.
You know what I'm saying?
I do know what you're saying. For me, how I look at what you're saying is this. When I was 25, the world was different.
Yes.
Literally different. And now it's the way it is now, but I'm the way I am now. There's no future in the past. I can only go forward. So good for you. Congratulations, 25-year-old person. Go for it. Whatever you're doing, you're happy, cool. But I'm here and I'm going this way.
Yeah.
I don't compare myself to other people ever. Not professionally.
Yeah.
Maybe personally, but never professionally.
Yeah, and to your point, the tools just weren't I mean, we were coming up, like, the internet was still in its infancy.
That's what I mean. I mean, this would have been unaffordable.
Yeah.
There would have been one of these in the whole tri-state area that everyone was trying to get into at the same time.
Yeah.
Now you can go in your bathroom and kind of not do this. This is great. But the technology, the cost of it just comes so far down. You can just...
And the same goes for music. And, so that's the other thing. Like, I would tell... just accumulate more skills, right?
Yes.
There's a lot of these schools. Like, my daughter goes to LVA, right, which is the big, Can
you tell the crowd what that is?
It's Las Vegas Academy of the Arts, right? Yeah. It's a high school it's like a magnet high school that caters to the arts, right?
Fantastic.
And they teach you how to do the thing, but they don't teach you how to make a living doing the thing.
Yeah, that's the... Yeah.
And I think it's not just the case with that particular school. You can go to Juilliard and the same thing. Well, I don't know. Maybe that's changed now, but you know what I mean. You can learn how to be this virtuoso musician, but if you don't know how, and that goes for anything, you can learn how to be a doctor or a psychologist.
It's so funny you said that. I've got a friend of mine. One of my best friends is my doctor, and he's like, I wish in medical school there was at least one semester on running a business.
Yeah,
because like you get out of medical school in your residency, and you owe $1 zillion. You have to start making money quickly. Like, what do I do? How do I make money? Like, they don't teach you that.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is be a Renaissance person.
Well, I think
kind of take it all in as much as you can.
You don't have to like know how to do everything to perfection, but at least be able to intelligibly have the conversation and know how to navigate your way through basic, like, how do I, sell myself?
Exactly.
And obviously the technology is changing and evolving, and it's vastly different than it was even 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But just stay on top of it. Like, I'm not the greatest, I'm not the world's expert on AI, but I keep my eye on it because it has come in handy.
Yep.
And will even more so in the future.
And be open to building a team. You can't,
Absolutely.
No one in this business. You can't be an island. You can't. You can live on your own planet for a while to write a record or write a song. But you got to come back into the world, and you can't be isolated. You've got to be out somehow connecting with humans.
Yeah, and it's amazing what you can do on your own.
Yeah,
but like, again, I mean, we can record entire albums. I mean, shit, Grammy-winning albums have been recorded in people's bedrooms now.
Yes.
So so that's the one thing. Like, I tell my daughter, like, specifically, learn, like, if you want to be a singer, learn how to record yourself.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Huge.
If you want to be, if you want to do anything in the arts, learn how to maybe build a website, just basic things. So that way, if you do go to a town or you say, I want to go hang out in New York or go to LA, you can go to town ready.
Yep.
Right?
I agree with what you're saying completely.
Sorry.
No, you're great. Next question. Favorite food?
Oh,
Switching gears.
So I don't know if you follow any of my socials, but
I follow all of them.
So everyone's social.
All of them. Just yours.
You're a busy man.
Only you.
So there's nothing very interesting. So this is to show you the extent of my socials. You want to talk about? I've done a lot of time on the road. I've spent a lot of time, stopping at various gas stations throughout.
Yes.
There is, and I hope to God it comes to Nevada at some point. There's a chain called Buc-ee's. You ever heard of Buc-ee's?
I watched you at Buc-ee's in bliss. You were blissfully going.
I was on a tour, last year, and they're really popular around the South, right?
Yeah. Well, Buc-ee's.
Yeah. So I just posted the other day. I ordered 2 bags with the Buc-ee's beaver nuggets, and that was. So
that's a real thing, ladies and gentlemen. And Buc-ee's beaver nuggets.
And where's the camera? And they're wonderful. So I hope this better get a good audience. They better send me a lifetime supply of these things.
Buc-ee, send him some. What is it?
Beaver nuggets.
Beaver nuggets.
Original flavor, by the way.
Original flavor. OG beaver nuggets.
Well, so I got a sweet tooth. You know what I mean?
Me too.
I love chocolate.
You love beavers.
I love the beaver.
Beavers.
Thank you. I just had it stuffed.
It's an amazing. I get all the references. That's one more thing about being old. You get all the references.
Nobody gets them anymore. Nobody gets it.
I do. It's a lot in here.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, where are we? What's the key? Okay, what's the key to long-term success in Las Vegas, in your opinion? You've been here a long time. You're successful. Keep mixing it up. What do you? A couple of sentences. What do you think?
Oh God, I think just to kind of hark back to what I said. Like, I mean, just be
reliable.
I think
maintain that.
Amass a skill set beyond what you're like I said, like, you can be the best singer or the greatest guitar player in your house, but you know what I mean? You got to figure out how to get yourself out into the world.
Stay relevant.
It depends on what your definition of relevance is. I wouldn't say I'm musically relevant at all.
Me too. Yeah,
right? I mean, like, I couldn't tell you. I watched the Grammys. Like, what the fuck is that?
I don't even watch the Grammys.
Yeah. I watched it because Billy Joel was on it. There you go.
Cool.
That's how old I am. But yeah, amass some other skill sets, and communication being one of them. Tony Robbins has a great quote: "The quality of your," I'm paraphrasing and probably ruining this, but the quality of your life is determined by the quality of your communication. So
I agree.
So I think that's another. There's soft skills you need to learn and hard skills, but just amass as many skills. Not that you're going to need them or use them all the time. Maybe you delegate, but at least you can speak that language.
I like it. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? My final question, sir. Jeff Celentano.
Taking a long nap, maybe I don't know, maybe
half a decade.
Well, I think
taking a long nap on a hammock, eating Buc-ee's beaver nuggets. just having them dropped into your boca from a tree or something.
Oh God, just straight to an IV. Just,
Is Bucky's? Is the IV just Bucky's?
that's an idea. It's a good, Mr. Bucky. You know what's funny? I've been married. By the way, I got it. Just whoever might be watching, you are responsible for me being happily married for the last 14 years.
You're welcome.
Yes, you booked. So for anyone, you booked me on my first and only kind of cruise, long-term cruise ship.
I remember.
I was out there for 3 months.
They threw you right off the ship too. At that 3 months in one day, like
get out.
This son of a...
Yeah. But that's where I met my wife. So, and we are still happily married to this day. You know. So thank you.
I got through almost 4 years of ships and met my wife at the very end. My last contract after I had a lot of fun. Whew. So yeah. So you had a 3-month fun, and then you got hitched, and I had almost 4 years of that.
Yeah, I was. You know. I was always a little. I don't know. I mean, I just remember before I went out, we went to lunch. At Tommy Bahamas.
Yes.
I mean, this is going back.
This is going back.
14, 15,
yes, it is.
2009, right?
Yep.
And I won't repeat what you said, but you did allude to the fun.
I warned you about
It was great.
Never jump out of a plane without a parachute. Let's just say that. So we're gonna wrap things up.
Yes.
Just to as we're wrapping up here, this is our episode number 3 of the Michael Soli Show. We want to thank Bold Energy Drink. Check out VegasAutoFest.com. We're looking for sponsors for this year. The AutoFest will be in September 2024 at Red Rock Country Club.
Yes. Right by my house.
Right by.
I'll walk over and check it out.
Literally. His band Good Vibrations performed at last year's Vegas Auto Fest at night. After the fest ended, they will be live entertainment. This year we'll have another band performing. Not you guys. Sorry. It's tough business.
Make sure they have lights.
And Soliconcepts and Soliconcepts.com, my talent agency. If you're looking for talent for anything, anything you want to plug before we go away?
I would just say anybody who's remotely interested in checking out either music or any of the projects that I do, again, you can find me, or if you want to just kind of find me on the socials, it's all in one place, jeffsounds.net. And then you can, that's kind of like my little one sheet link tree. There will be things coming out. I'm working on a record finally for the first time in 20 years. So
really?
Hopefully that'll happen in the summer. Okay. We're kind of taking things. And I'm still working on these other production shows and whatnot. So it's, it's busy.
jeffsounds.net.
Yeah.
Can I shake your hand?
Yeah, absolutely.
Can I reach over? Thanks for coming, man.
Thanks for having me.
Episode 3, we'll have you back at episode 30.
Yeah, maybe I'll have something to talk about.
We'll have something to talk about. Maybe we'll get your parole officer to let you out for the day to come and shoot the show. But everyone, thanks for checking out the show. Thanks for being with us, and thanks for being here today. And we'll see you next time. Thank you.